Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this Explore Analytics project management webinar. This is going to be a recorded session, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. But we're going to be talking today about flexible and detailed project management inside of Explore Analytics. And really, the reason that we talk about Explore Analytics is in this project management space is that project management is a great example of the kind of reporting problem that really Explore Analytics is well designed to solve. I think a lot of what the issue comes from with project management is that if you want to get to a really high and advanced level of project management, you want to be able to pull together all the aspects of data that can really help your project management thrive. Within ServiceNow, it's scattered on a number of different tables, including time cards, resource allegations, project tasks, project records. But there may also be very relevant data that sits outside of outside of ServiceNow, rather. For example, sales data or cost data. There may be aspects like, for instance, time cards or project codes that you're not currently using ServiceNow to drive. So Explore Analytics is really designed to allow you to unlock all of this in a very flexible way. And today, people might be doing this through, a pile of spreadsheets. So if you think to yourself, if there are any spreadsheets that you use in your project management process, and what are the barriers to being able to do that in a reporting solution? And we don't want to get to the point where we're sucking all of that data out into a data warehouse. The goal with Explore Analytics is to be able to take advantage of all that universe of data without manual work, without copying data, without writing code, and without administrative changes. And today, when we talk about the flexible side of the project management reporting with Explore Analytics, we're going to be particularly focused on how can you get some of these more advanced calculations that involve pieces of data on multiple tables. How do we do that in a way that doesn't require any of this logistical overhead? And so today with Explore Analytics, we do the real-time reporting, operational dashboards, long-term trended metrics, and also a pre-built library of reports. Today, we're going to focus a little bit more on that pre-built library of reports because Explore Analytics has a pre-built suite of project and portfolio reporting. But remember that it's all built on top of our seamless reporting engine. So it's very easy to configure. You're not locked into custom user interfaces. And it's something that is intended to get you started in a quick way, but allow you to iterate and really bring in your unique data structures and tables. The IT project management application, which we'll be demoing today, really covers things about cost estimations and actuals, resource estimations and actuals, understanding where you are from a time card perspective, and all of these different ways of saying what's going on right now, how does that compare to what we expected? But again, this application is a starting point, and just to get your mind thinking about how you can take it further, one of our customers is a global technology company, and their use case was providing self-service real-time visibility to people who are participating in the process to understand, in their case, how they'll be paid off of these time cards, but really understand what those time cards reflect. And the fact that they could go to an Explore Analytics dashboard and see in real time what's their time card information and how can they take advantage of that. For this organization, the time cards weren't in ServiceNow, but they could access those dashboards in ServiceNow. So really that's more of that self-service use case. Another example that we actually have multiple customers exploring is being able to pull together project management, resource management, sales information to understand for our resources, how utilized are they? What's the cost of those resources versus the value we get back from that? And then be able to forecast that based on the sales pipeline. Again, a couple of our customers are doing this, in some cases leveraging data that's outside of ServiceNow to be able to understand this, in their case, sales data that comes in to drive that. So hopefully this is starting to get you thinking about different reporting challenges and questions, things you're doing today in spreadsheets or questions that you've had that you weren't able to answer. And now let's take a look at what that looks like in Explore Analytics. So I'll start from the pre-built application because this is really a great kickstart to be able to look at project and resource management. So what you'll see here is I have my Explore Analytics dashboard. This is built using the Explore Analytics dashboard capability, but it's embedded inside the ServiceNow user interface. So the users who are in the project management process have access to it there. You could also present this dashboard outside of ServiceNow in a HTML portal or a Google site if you're working with people who aren't using ServiceNow in their day-to-day. This is all focused around a couple things. One thing is really using color and visual, even in something like a list, right? So sometimes lists are unavoidable, but being able to really present that in a richer way that drives people's attention to, the information you want them to see, as well as things like these scorecards that really bubble up information. But a lot of the power really comes from this ability to slice and dice, so that from the user who's looking at this report, they can say, well, just show me the green projects and show me just the ones that are critical or high risk. And I can select into that, right? So I'm always just a couple clicks from being able to slice and dice things the way that I want to. If I want to see more information about this cloud project, I can click onto that. In this case, rather than going down immediately to to that specific project, what you'll see is it actually took me to a detail tab within the dashboard. So I went from that portfolio view to this project view that's showing me, in this case, the earned value management curve. If you're familiar with this, it's looking at over time what the planned value, the earned value, and the actual costs are, so that you can see at what point in the project are we realizing the value, how much have we actually spent, and is that ahead or behind of what we were expecting to get. And if I want to drill through to the details, I can go straight to the list and open up the individual project tasks or the higher level project, right? So you're always, a click or two away from being able to take action on the records themselves, but here within the ServiceNow user interface. So really you can go from that high level portfolio view to something that breaks down the project and down to the individual task, take action, and move quickly back to that dashboard. Another thing that I can do from here to drill into more information is you'll see that these set of projects have related risks and issues. I'm looking at my critical and high risk, and I can see that this cloud management health has 3 risks associated. Again, I have this dashboard set up so that it takes me to this details tab that's all on the risk table, looking at those risks associated to that project. Again, we're bringing into the slicer the project that we selected. So I can see here are the individual risks that are associated, what are the estimated cost of those risks, how are they assigned out by manager, and again, I can drill in to see the individuals. So that takes us through a couple of those tasks. We had this portfolio view that gives us a really high level, overarching view of projects as they sit in the portfolio. The project view that included that earned value management and looking at that from that cost curve perspective. A couple other tabs we have. This is our baseline report, which really looks at, and I'll make it look across all projects now. How are we doing in terms of the timings that we said were ahead or behind? And what you'll notice here is that we're using Explore Analytics binning. We're grouping them into buckets, right? So everything here is very user friendly. I can see that we had 529 tasks that occurred on time. We had 28 tasks that had a minor delay, and you can configure what that definition is. And then 43 tasks that had a major delay, right? Again, we want to make sure that people are spending their time in an effective way, and we're directing them to look in an effective way. So I want to focus on what were those major delays, what caused those major delays. Obviously, if something gets marked as closed, a day or two after it was expected, that's fine. But if we have something that was closed out 2 weeks late, that's where I want to look for process improvement perspectives. I can look at this by project manager, right? you know, we don't want to necessarily manage with a stick, but it's useful to know who is doing a good job at driving things to completion in an effective way. Same with from a resource perspective. Who are the people who tend to be hitting their deadlines and who are not, right? So that you can really easily get this understanding of how are we doing relative to what we were expecting. Similarly, we have a resource tab. Again, we're trying to understand what was planned versus what was actual. And here you can see some of the power of the calculations, where we're looking here to say, what were the hours that people spent? If you're using time cards against all tasks, right, these are the operational tasks, which include incidents, problems, changes, service requests, and calls. So customer support spent 22,000 hours on those, which is 94.5%. And they spend 1,200 hours on projects, right, which is about 5.5%. This, varies by department. It looks like facilities is 100% allocated to the projects. For your organization, you're going to know what makes or doesn't make sense, but here is a very quick way to be able to see how are people balancing their time between projects and keeping the lights on. Similarly, when it comes to individual resources, how much are they allocated for, and how much of that is actually being utilized, so that we can, again, see, are there particular stumbling blocks? Now, one aspect is that ability to draw information from multiple tables together. These reports have allocated hours, has resource plan hours, it has time cards, all seamlessly integrated. The other is the way that we're representing this out to the user, right? The ability to draw color, to really draw their attention to, hey, this person has spent 269% of their allocated hours. Is this person, are there some time card issues there? Is that something where we're really overstretching a particular resource? That's something I immediately want to drill through to details on and take action on. And then, as we saw before, I also have the ability to drill in on a project level or across projects on the risks and issues that are being certified. So this is a dashboard that gives you a quick start to be able to move through what's going on at the project, the portfolio level. How are we doing in terms of timeliness? How are we doing in terms of allocating those resources? Hopefully that has given you some thought about some of the places where you can get some quick answers. But I wanted to take back to one of the things I said, which was Explore Analytics is flexible. Because it's built on a full, true business intelligence tool, it's very easy for you to configure to your needs. So for example, these slicers that allow you to select, different states or risks or what have you, if I wanted to add a new slicer, I can slice based off of anything. So let's say I wanted to do company and company and select from the service now and select the company, right? And we want it to be the name of the company. Include it all, and we'll allow multiple selection, right? In just a few clicks, now I have this ability to say, oh, actually only show me this project for particular companies. Or maybe in your environment, it's client codes. Or maybe in your environment, you want it to be based off of, there's groupings of different portfolios. Whatever that is, you can very easily configure that to be in the terms of the people who use that. I think that's the real value of this flexibility, is being able to put things in terms that the users who are accessing these reports understand. So another example, if I look at this task rescheduling by difference in months, right? So we're looking at tasks, and we're saying from the first time that it was scheduled to the last time it was scheduled, how many months are being put in, right? So this might be for large projects to identify if things are being kicked down the road. Now, that's something that is, we put together this filter where we wanted to show, larger projects that are more than a month. And it's just a simple calculation where we're pulling out the month part of the date and the month part of the end date and just putting together a simple formula. There's a huge array of helper formulas to allow you to really dig into the data and surface the information in a quick way so that you can, for example, here, get that difference in months. those are the kind of barriers that, canned solutions aren't able to help you tackle. So I'll give you another example. This is a report on how many of the time cards indicate that someone put in time cards on the weekend, right? For organizations that need to manage overtime or want to understand how people are working, this is a really great way. We're not going to put this in our app because it's not going to be relevant to everyone, but you need to have that flexibility to very easily configure these reports to your needs so that when you have a question, it's as easy as dragging and dropping and putting in a formula, right? So this is the time card table in ServiceNow, and it's just looking at an if date, says if there's any hours that are on the time card allocated to Saturday or Sunday, flag it as worked weekends. Otherwise, flag it as did not work weekends, right? Similar to something that you might do in Excel, but here it's real time. It's against the actual up to the minute data. It didn't require coding or scripting, but it allows this very easy and readable, right? You could have maybe built this report in a way just built on those columns, but having this in this did not work weekends format allows that report to come out in a way that's very easy for the stakeholder to understand, right? They look at it and it either says work weekends or didn't work weekends. So those are examples of how you can start to look at using those calculations to put things in terms that people understand in a very quick and easy way. So we've just scratched the surface in terms of some of the capabilities that are possible with the project management application. These dashboards that we talked about here that are available, all of this is available in that project management application. I mentioned at the top that you can embed it in ServiceNow or elsewhere. You could also schedule this to be sent out. So on a regular basis, send this out to folks. But one of the things I wanted to highlight is this ability to check off frozen dashboard. So if you schedule the emailing of a frozen project dashboard, it'll create a unique link where the results of the reports will be cached. Often when things are moving, quickly and fluidly in projects, you might want to have a record of what these reports look like at a particular point in time. So if you schedule this dashboard at the end of every week to have its own unique link with the cached version of that, then rather than everyone looking at the dashboard at different points in time, you'll be able to go back and say, hey, that baseline report, what did it look like at the beginning of the quarter? What did it look like last quarter? So that you can compare and get those understandings as you move forward. So all of that is very easy to set up. Similarly, I mentioned being able to embed this outside of ServiceNow. So you could publish to ServiceNow, or you could say, give me a URL that I can send to folks, or give me the an Explore Analytics embed, right? So this is the URL that you can directly link. This is an embed code if you want to put it in a SharePoint site or some other portal that would allow them to see, this, which is, the dashboard that we saw, but here, fully resizing and easy to use in this user interface. So hopefully those are some ideas that get your mind flowing. If there are any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them at this point. So a question about if you'd like to see this. So you can go to exploreanalytics.com/demo, and it'll take you to this this ServiceNow environment that I've been demoing from. So you can take a closer look at the project dashboard. It's also where you can take a look at some of the other dashboards that we've put together. If you're interested in trying this in your environment, shoot me a note and I'd be happy to share information on how to get set up with that. Great. Another question about combining some of the data together. So I mentioned a couple of times that one of the values is being able to put information from different tables together. I don't know why it switched to that one. But so for example, this is an example of the resource planned versus actuals, right? So it's using something that we call a mashup report. So what it is you create the individual report. So this is a pivot on the resource allocation table that's summing up the requested hours, and then creating a second report against the time card table that is pulling together the actual hours. And then you just go to the file menu, select new mashup view, and you can put together, as we saw before, those reports by selecting those together. Once you have those two reports combined in the mashup, that same capability that we talked about of being able to do formulas is here in this calculation, right? So you can do the requested hours minus the actual hours by the requested hours. And then in this case, I formatted it to be 100%. And then I clicked here and said edit coloring rules to set the colors. So again, when it comes to that application, there's no magic in this, right? Once you get access to the application, you can see how those reports are built. You can use them as templates for your other reports. So I see a question. So we will be posting this video to the YouTube channel. So you can absolutely use this as an internal resource. And I'll follow up in a couple days with that video. For folks who haven't looked at the Explore Analytics YouTube channel, and I know this is about to autoplay, so let me grab that. The Explore Analytics YouTube channel is very focused on these sorts of internal resources. We have a whole section that walks through user training, that walks through some of the basics. We also have some ones that are around specific types of reports. And I wanted to highlight this because there's one that walks through building resource reports. There's other ones that are focused around project and project adjacent. So if you haven't poked around on the YouTube channel or subscribed so you get those notifications, I very much recommend that you do. Are there any other questions at this time? Great. Well, thank you all for joining. As I said, in a couple of days, there'll be a video, a link to this video that will be sent out. And, I know we're getting close to the holidays, so everyone who's joined, please stay safe and well and have an excellent holiday season.